If your child cries, turns their face away, or runs away the moment you say, "Come eat your food," there is a very high chance you are accidentally making the problem worse. Yes, one small mistake that almost every loving parent makes, and the more you try to fix it, the worse the food battle becomes. But here is the strange part. In some countries, children rarely fight over food. No crying, no chasing with spoons, no bargaining. So the real question is, what are those parents doing differently? And by the end of this video, you will discover one quiet dinner rule used by many families in Japan and France that can completely change how children respond to food. Now let me show you a moment. That happens in thousands of homes, every single evening. It is dinner time. Mom calls from the kitchen. "Come eat your food." The child immediately replies. "No!" the mother insists. Just one bite. The child turns away. The crying begins. And suddenly, dinner turns into a chase. The mother walks behind the child with a plate in one hand and a spoon in the other. 1 spoon, 2 spoons, 3 spoons. Then the television turns on. A cartoon appears. The mobile phone comes out. And finally, the last weapon, a bribe. "Eat this, and I will give you chocolate." 40 minutes later, the child eats 3 spoons, just 3, and the parent feels completely exhausted. But here is the part most parents never realize. This battle is not really about food. In fact, the real reason children refuse food might surprise you. Because inside a young child's brain, something very important is happening. Something powerful. Children between the ages of 2 and 6 are discovering something new. They are discovering that they can say no. For the first time in their life, they feel control. They cannot control when they sleep. They cannot control where the family goes. They cannot control the rules of the house. But there is one thing they suddenly realize they can control: eating. So when a parent says, "Eat now," the child's brain quietly responds, "No, I decide." And the moment food becomes a battle, the child's brain turns eating into a power game. And this is exactly where most parents accidentally make the problem worse. They push harder, they force, they threaten, they bargain. They chase their child around the house with a spoon. But every time this happens, something unexpected occurs. Food slowly becomes associated with pressure, frustration, and stress. Without realizing it, the child's brain learns a dangerous connection. Eating equals stress. But something interesting happens in other parts of the world. In countries like Japan and France, the food battle is far less common. Not because their children are different, but because the dinner environment is different. And one simple rule in particular changes everything. But before we get to that rule, let me tell you a short story. There was a mother in France who had a 4-year-old son, and vegetables were the enemy. Every dinner became a war, crying, negotiating, threats. The entire house felt tense during meals. One evening, she decided to try something different. She placed dinner on the table. The family sat down calmly, and she simply said, "Dinner is ready." Her son looked at the vegetables and refused. Normally, this would start another battle. Normally, she would argue. Normally, she would chase him with the spoon. But this time, she did something unexpected. She said, "Okay," and continued eating. No pressure, no forcing. Dinner finished. The plates were cleared. The kitchen closed. No snacks, no biscuits, no replacement meals. The next morning, the little boy woke up. very hungry. And suddenly, vegetables were not such a terrible idea anymore. And this reveals an important truth about children. When food stops being a battle, it slowly becomes normal again. There are a few small changes that can help parents create this kind of peaceful environment. One parent tried something unusual. Instead of filling the plate, she placed only 2 tiny bites on it. Suddenly, the plate didn't feel overwhelming, and the child finished it. Large plates overwhelm children, but tiny portions feel manageable, and small successes build confidence. Another powerful change happens when children participate in making the food. When a child helps wash vegetables, mix ingredients, or place food on the plate, something interesting happens. They become curious. They want to taste what they helped create. Suddenly, the food is not just something being forced on them. It becomes their project. Another quiet change that helps many families is removing pressure from the table. Instead of saying, "Finish everything," parents begin saying, "Eat until your tummy feels full." And slowly, children start listening to their own hunger. And sometimes, something even simpler works, making food visually fun, because children eat with their eyes first. A star-shaped sandwich, carrot sticks that look like tiny cars, colorful plates. Suddenly, food becomes playful instead of stressful. And that brings us back to the most important truth. Children are not refusing food because they want to make life difficult for their parents. They are learning independence. They are learning choice. And when parents change the environment, children slowly change their behavior. So the next time your child refuses food, pause for a moment. And remember, peaceful meals do not come from forcing children to eat. They come from teaching children how to eat. And sometimes, the smallest change at the dinner table can transform the entire experience.